Welcome to latest News Blaster. For years, Alicia Keys has been celebrated not only for her powerful voice, but for her calm, grounded energy. A woman who stood as a symbol of love, loyalty, and faith in a chaotic world. But behind the bright lights, stunning performances, and graceful smiles, there was a story Alicia never told. Until now. In a new, emotional confession that has left fans in shock, Alicia Keys has finally opened up about the real truth behind her marriage, and why she kept forgiving her husband even when the pain became unbearable. It wasn't an interview filled with glamour or promotion. It was raw. It was real. And it was Alicia like the world has never seen before. The hidden struggles behind the music. Alicia Keys has always carried herself with quiet strength. She rarely addresses rumors, never feeds drama, and chooses peace over noise. But over the years, whispers surrounded her marriage. Whispers of betrayal, emotional distance, and a love that began to fade behind closed doors. For so long, she stayed silent. She smiled in pictures, wrote songs about healing and forgiveness, and told the world that love conquers all. But few knew the battles she was fighting privately, the nights of doubt, the loneliness, and the silent tears. In her confession, Alicia said softly, "I stayed because I believed in love. I believed that what we built was worth saving, but sometimes, belief can hurt." Those words pierced hearts across the internet. He was my home, but sometimes, home hurts. She described how her relationship started with passion, music, and shared dreams. The connection between her and her husband was undeniable. Both artists, both visionaries, both chasing greatness. But somewhere along the way, life changed. Fame grew louder, schedules got heavier, and little cracks began to form. Alicia admitted that she ignored those cracks for years. "When you love someone deeply, you start to convince yourself that pain is normal," she said. "You tell yourself that love will fix everything. You start making excuses for the things that break you." She paused before adding, "He was my home, but sometimes home hurts." The audience fell silent. No one expected her to speak with such vulnerability, the power of silence. For years, Alicia chose silence, not because she was weak, but because she believed that protecting peace was more important than defending pride. "I didn't want the world to see my wounds," she explained. "People expect you to be strong, perfect, unshaken, but love doesn't care who you are, it humbles you." Fans recalled moments when Alicia performed heartbreaking songs with tears in her eyes, yet still smiled for the cameras. Every lyric she sang, "Try sleeping with a broken heart, unthinkable, if I ain't got you," suddenly carried a deeper meaning. Her music, it turns out, was never just music, it was her therapy. Forgiveness was her greatest battle. Alicia revealed that the hardest part of her marriage wasn't the arguments or misunderstandings. It was forgiveness. "Forgiving someone over and over again is heavy," she said quietly. "It takes pieces of you each time. You start to lose the version of yourself that used to smile easily." She shared how she would wake up some mornings pretending everything was fine, smiling at her children, writing songs, attending events, but inside, she was drowning. "People think forgiveness is weakness," she continued. "But it's actually the hardest thing you'll ever do. It's choosing to see light when your heart is covered in shadows." Her words reminded millions that love isn't a fairy tale. It's a battlefield between what hurts and what heals. The moment she almost walked away. There came a point, Alicia confessed, when she almost left everything. She described a night filled with silence. No arguments, no shouting, just two people sitting across from each other, both exhausted. "We didn't even need words," she said. The silence said everything. "I remember thinking, maybe this is the end. Maybe love isn't enough anymore." She didn't sleep that night. Instead, she wrote a song. She didn't name it, but fans believe that song later became one of her most emotional pieces, a melody about holding on when everything inside you wants to let go. By morning, she made her choice. She stayed. Not because she was blind, not because she was weak, but because she wanted to give love one last chance. "I believed that healing doesn't happen by running away," she said. "Sometimes It happens by staying and rebuilding. The woman behind the smile. Many fans have always admired Alicia for her no-makeup movement, her authenticity, and her grounded soul. But few understood that behind that natural glow was a woman who had cried herself to sleep too many nights to count. She said softly, "I didn't want to be perfect anymore. I just wanted to be real." And that's what this revelation was. Real. No filters, no rehearsed answers, just truth. She spoke of her fear of judgment, of the pressure to appear strong, and of how society sometimes tells women that walking away makes them powerful, but staying for love makes them foolish. But strength isn't always about leaving, Alicia explained. Sometimes it's about staying and choosing to fight for something you believe in. Her words hit home for millions who had once stayed in painful relationships, not because they were trapped, but because they still believed in love. Fans react with love and empathy. Within hours of her confession, social media exploded with messages of support. Fans called her brave, raw, and inspiring. One wrote, "Alicia Keys just reminded us that love isn't black and white. It's messy, human, and full of lessons." Another said, "She's teaching us that healing doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means owning your truth." Across platforms, people shared clips of her past performances. Moments where her voice trembled, where her eyes carried stories she never spoke. It suddenly all made sense. Love that survived the fire. Today, Alicia and her husband continue to appear together at events. But there's something different now. Not perfection, but peace. Not fairy tale romance, but understanding. "We're not who we used to be," Alicia admitted. "We've grown, we've hurt, we've healed, and now we choose each other differently. Not from fear, but from clarity." She described how rebuilding a relationship after deep pain isn't about forgetting the past. It's about forgiving it and creating new meaning from the ashes. "Love after pain is quieter," she said. "It doesn't scream promises. It just shows up every day." Those words echoed across the world. A reminder that real love isn't perfect. It's patient, it's scarred, it's human. The legacy of a woman who chose grace. Alicia Keys has always been more than a singer. She's a storyteller, a soul healer, a symbol of strength wrapped in softness. Through this confession, she didn't just share her pain, she gave the world permission to embrace theirs. She closed her emotional message with these words, "Brek, I stayed because I believed in love. And even when it hurt, I learned that love, in all its forms, still saves us." The crowd rose in silence, many with tears in their eyes, because in that moment, Alicia Keys wasn't just a celebrity, she was every person who ever chose love even when it broke them. A new chapter. Sources close to her reveal that Alicia is now focusing on self-growth, her family, and music that mirrors her journey of rediscovery. She has learned to set boundaries, to honor her emotions, and to love herself as deeply as she once loved others. "I'm not the same woman I was," she told a friend. "But I'm finally free. Not because I walked away, but because I found myself again." Her story is a lesson to millions, that forgiveness is not surrender, it's strength. That staying doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes it's the bravest thing a person can do. And that love, no matter how painful, always has something to teach us. Closing thoughts. As Alicia Keys' truth continues to echo across the internet, one thing remains certain. She has turned her pain into poetry, her heartbreak into hope. Through her honesty, she's reminded the world that behind every strong woman is a story she had no choice but to survive. And even when the world expected her to walk away, Alicia chose to stay. Not because it was easy, but because deep down, she still believed in love.